Well, we may have seen the first chinks in the armor for the defense in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. No, I'm not talking about the FBI footage. That turned out to be a dud. Watching it, I think it strengthens Kyle's case more than it hurts it. So I have no idea what Binger sees in it, but whatever the case, that's not what we're talking about. What concerns us today is potential malfeasance on the part of the defensive team, especially Mark Richards. And David Hancock gets thrown in the mix as well. The accuser is Robert Barnes. He's a civil lawyer that was on Kyle's defense team. Apparently he's been kicked off. And he is hopping mad. He claims that he put together a dream team of some of the best legal scholars out there willing to help Kyle, and Mark Richards won't let him. His story is shocking. However, we have not heard Mark Richards' side of things, and I'm sure he has one. So this is on Viva Frei's channel. I highly recommend it. Go in there and subscribe. He's a lawyer out of Canada, has a lot of great videos on legal aspects of current events. But right now, it's Robert Barnes. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
I'm going to mostly play this. I'm not going to comment a lot because I just want Robert Barnes to tell his story. I hope Viva Frei doesn't care about me sort of borrowing this footage here, but well, whatever. I have 340 subscribers. I doubt he's going to worry about it too much.
Let's bring Barnes in because we got some stuff to talk about, and Barnes is looking dapper as always. Robert, how goes the battle?
Good.
So you're back at home now.
Yes. There's an empty trial house sitting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, by the lake.
By the way, I'm playing this at 1.25 speed, just to kind of keep things moving along a little bit more briskly.
It's beautiful. If anybody wants a time of year up there, it's a little cold, but it turned out that I'm not there, nor is anyone else, thanks to the efforts of some of the people around Kyle Rittenhouse and his family, not Kyle himself. But yeah, back in Vegas, it is warmer here.
Well, here's the question, and sometimes I'm nervous because I'm not sure what I can ask you, but you're a big boy. You'll tell me if you can't talk about it. What can you talk about in terms of what went down with Rittenhouse and what's going forward by way of trial?
Sure. So when I got involved, certain assurances were made by the team of people around Kyle and his mother, and that was one that that Wendy Rittenhouse would be the legal, operational, and signatory control of everything related to the fundraising and the funds and the expenditures concerning those funds. I was given assurances that had already happened back in March of this year. In addition, as it was clear that the people running his public relations, running his marketing, running his social media accounts were incompetent at what they were doing, particularly a gentleman by the name of David Hancock, who had no experience or skill in this. His Free Kyle USA Twitter account, I think, still only has 5,000 followers.
Which is inconceivable, by the way. I mean, it's inconceivable.
Completely. I mean, the guy has no clue what he's doing. It's either deliberate sabotage or just utter incompetence and ego. That he would be replaced by a very sophisticated team of people with like Hollywood marketing skills, a high-end all people that I arranged the contacts and communications and referrals to. I vouched for all of this because my only concern was getting Kyle the best defense in the court of public opinion, the best defense in the court of law. I didn't care about anything else. And so that was my sole and whole focus. That is why for the entire time that I've worked for Kyle, I've spent a lot of money, both in time and actual out-of-pocket costs, over well in the six figures, and have never billed he or his family a penny, nickel, dime, or dollar.
And now, if I can ask, or if you can answer, like the team that you were putting together, star-studded team, can you disclose?
Part one was the operational control. All go to Wendy. Part two, I'll make the referrals and made the referrals, and I mean, I had people. I convinced people to who's had family members on their deathbeds to go out and help Kyle and to make sure things got done. And put the whole team, Kyle's whole team up there in connection with them. They said they were going to hire him, retain him, get everything done, all the rest. Then part three, my view was there should have been full replacement of the legal defense team. Mark Richards talks about trying over 100 cases. He doesn't talk about winning a single one. I talked to people that are around them that knew them. I know a lot of people in Wisconsin. People don't know I graduated from Wisconsin Law School. I got a lot of close connections with a lot of high-ranking defense attorneys in Wisconsin. I first went public about Lynn Wood and John Pierce because I was hearing from Wisconsin lawyers who were very concerned about how the defense was going. And so I put together a team that ideally could be the defense at trial, but at a minimum would be the advisory council. These included several lawyers, including, I won't disclose their names yet because I don't have that, I'm not sure if they would be okay with that fully, but they'd all agreed to help, didn't demand any upfront payment. And I'm talking 2 lawyers who had more self-defense wins than any lawyers in the country, lawyers who literally wrote the book on self-defense.
Okay, I think we know who we're talking about. It's this guy. And yeah, he actually served on Kyle's defense team for the extradition hearing back in September. And I asked in a past video why this guy wasn't on Kyle's team this time around. Now, he may not be able to take a courtroom appearance because he may not be licensed in Wisconsin, but he certainly could have added a lot of expertise to the Kyle team. This is the first time I've heard that Robert Barnes wanted him on the defense team and had him secured. Now, I'm assuming it's him. He says the guy wrote the book on self-defense. Well, this guy did write the book on self-defense, and he has worked with Kyle in the past. I'm assuming it's him.
Lawyers, 2 lawyers who were intimately involved on the ground in Wisconsin, 2 street-level lawyers who've done street criminal cases across the country, and that's the kind of skill set you need to add in, and 2 high-profile lawyers who handle high-profile criminal cases, plus myself and another. So it's about an advisory team of 10 lawyers that was going to be better than the OJ Dream Team defense. And then for the jury selection, brought in, and again, got these people to, just on my word, agree to come in without demanding any upfront advance payment at all, any guarantee of payment at all. And this included 3 different top data people, one of whom is said he can disclose it, Richard Barris, one of the best in the country. All of them stepping in. Richard Barris had already done extensive polling at my expense for Kyle to know everything that was going on in Kenosha, everything that was, venue transfer issues, jury selection issues, you name it. Identified 17 different risk factors for Kyle's prospective jurors. Figured out that the jury pool was very contaminated by media publicity caused by prosecutor Binger. Almost 2/3 of Kenosha jurors presumed Kyle guilty. People watched the jury selection today. They saw evidence of that. And not only that, so 3 different data sources, data vendors, because the juror information was available more than a week before trial.
Okay, one thing I want to add in here. I was very surprised that they were able to seat a jury in only one day. I told Logical Checkmate that, don't worry about it. It's going to be a while. I figured 3-4 days, maybe a week. And I'm really concerned that they were able to seat a jury so quickly. Usually that means that both sides are not really grappling much. And Robert Barnes here is coming out and saying that basically Binger got his way. Again, I'm not saying that Barnes is right. I don't know, but I do think we should hear him.
So you could go through the all 150 jurors and find out key detailed pieces of information. I know they didn't find it because they asked the same questions that were available in the data today. That you could have got in the data, and instead they just gave away some of their best jurors to the prosecution by publicly asking that question to the questionnaire. But not only that whole team of people that had set aside time, because I was promised and guaranteed 2 weeks ago that all of this was protected, all of this was agreed to, all of this was not a problem, so everybody could lock in their time, set aside their schedule, and this is substantial expense. On top of that, the best body language experts in the world, and the people out there can guess who they are, had agreed also to assist, and were flying in and setting aside time to be there in the courtroom to observe whether jurors were telling the truth or not, whether they might be trying to hide something, whether they may be because that was the second key component. First key component was the data analysis. The second key component was the in-person body language reporting.
And by the way, now that I've gotten sufficiently through the 6-minute X-ray of Chase Hughes, not just mentioning that because it's the book I'm reading, I can tell you, you can appreciate the application of what they can determine, what they can read into jury. Because the thing is this, those books are useful for people who are going to use it in everyday life. When the people that you are trying to get information from, to do certain things from, don't know that it's going on. So it's extremely useful on a practical day-to-day level, not necessarily like setting up one expert against another to see who can outsmart the other, just daily application of this, especially in trial. And knowing what's going on now with the Kyle trial, with jury selection, with how this could be used to determine, things that the jury members are saying and are not saying body language-wise. Read the book, people, and it's immensely useful, and you can see the practical application it can have here. So sorry to interrupt you with that, just so everybody understands the value that they were bringing to the table.
One thing I would say, though, he's talking about having an army of experts, and I can understand why a defense lawyer might be a little bit taken aback by the huge amount of organizational skill that would be needed to keep that army working all in the same direction. You got to all pull on the same rope in the same direction. And the more people you have involved, the harder that becomes. So I can understand that argument.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about over 100 years of collective experience of the best in the world, body language experts, all coming to the defense of Kyle Rittenhouse and made available to him, on top of the data team, on top of the jury selection team. That's what's put together. I book houses, book travel, book transportation, set aside time, you name it. Vouch, my name is used to vouch and save and raise more than $600,000 for Kyle Rittenhouse's defense. I got Lynn Wood to agree to set aside $1 million of the bail fund, at least $1 million of the bail fund, to cover any other legal or security and other personal family expenses necessary to make sure the trial goes correctly and adequately.
Barnes, I'm going to bring this up. Let me read this one, Robert, because it's a good question. Beck's Fire. Is it that Kyle's attorneys secretly want to sink him, or are they afraid that Barnes and his team would steal their thunder? It just doesn't make sense. After all this, explain to us who is left on the team, and what does the team consist of? How many lawyers? How many experts that you know of? And what's the strategy? But sorry.
Yeah. So basically, early last week, when everybody's up there, everybody's on the way there. If they aren't already there, I'm suddenly told by Mark Richards that not only will they not share any information, they won't allow any of us in the courtroom for jury selection, and they won't be taking any advice from anybody. And it's like, I write back and I'm like, why not? I mean, you don't have to do anything with the advice. I'm not demanding you get replaced. I'm just saying, why not have that advice available to you? And it said no, refused, just outright. Tried to reach out to talk to Kyle and his mom, and I'm told that can't meet with him unless this guy David Hancock is there in the room. The security guy who's basically hijacked and kidnapped the family functionally. I find out this is how all this I think happened around the same time in the weeks leading up. There is a lawsuit filed that I'm the registered agent for the Milo Fund, which is the fund that is the fundraising fund, and I'm concerned by the allegations raised in the suit. The allegations in the suit are it's $1 million plus claim against the Milo Fund. It claims that this guy David Hancock is secretly running it all. That he's basically in control of the family finances, control of the Milo Fund.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hockley from Sandy Hook Promise. I know this is hard to hear, but it's important.
And all the things that I'd been told had been corrected back in February, now I have to wonder whether it's true. So I just asked for real simple information. I said, I want just give me the audited financials and then this had been promised to me all along anyway. That once it was available would be forthcoming. It was supposed to be available by early October. And the legal documentation showing that, in fact, Wendy Rittenhouse is the owner of the fund, is the trustee, is the signatory. And suddenly that's unavailable. And then a few days later, suddenly I'm out. And suddenly everybody else is excluded. And no one else, and nobody can help. And I mean, no better way to hijack a kid than to be his sole source of food, his sole source of groceries, his sole source of housing, his sole source of utilities, sole source of medicine for he and his family.
Sole source of security as well, because that I suspect is the number one concern above all else.
Correct. And then, so it's a security guy, this David Hancock guy. It was his idea to bring in Lynn Wood. It was his idea to bring in John Pierce. It was his idea to ambush Kyle with militia members of the Proud Boys members at a bar that Kyle had no clue who they were, what they're about. And the question is what that person asked. Is this deliberate sabotage of Kyle's defense? Is it ego? What is it? I thought it was so irrational that nobody could do this. Even if their goal was money or something else, Kyle gets convicted, that their opportunities go away. So I thought everybody was aligned. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the ego. If they wanted to fire me and tar and feather me, go have at it. Just make sure Kyle has the best available defense. And so when they were like, we won't allow anybody else in the room. So based on the questions asked today, we gave them tons of great information about what were the key areas of risk for Kyle. And for those that don't understand this, the problem is the right lives in its own echo chamber of its own accord. The most people in Kenosha have been bombarded by false media stories from the local media affiliates and the local newspapers, but particularly the TV affiliates, and it has gone through their social media, and they have a false news narrative about Kyle. That's why you heard jurors talking about, didn't he have a machine gun? Didn't he come from Chicago? I mean, things that are utterly false. Worried about him because they think he's somehow dangerous. This is a kid who was just out to protect a small business, who if he wasn't there that night, a gas station gets burned down and God knows how many people die. I mean, the kid's a sweetheart. The mom's a sweetheart. The whole family are sweethearts. But they're a poor family that I don't think is getting the best legal advice. And so now all I know of with the jury selection is what I saw in court. And based on the questions being asked, they clearly did not take advantage of the information that Richard and I and others had provided to them, because they're asking questions about gun ownership and other things that would have been available if you would have done your data research correctly. I don't think they replaced it. I don't think they replaced the people we had with anybody. I think there's like one or two people that are helping them out on the jury selection side that are not well equipped for these kind of cases. Richards himself is a liberal Democrat, is not well suited for a gun Second Amendment case, doesn't have a reputation of winning. Talks about over 100 jury trials, doesn't talk about a single one he's ever won. So, and if people, like, I got bombarded today with text and email saying, what the heck's going on with jury selection? Some of these questions are terrible. The follow-up is awful. That's because my whole team is not there. So, I mean, people knew the dream team. I mean, they basically used me saying, hey, promising me, hey, well, we're going to make sure the dream team is available for Kyle, so that I would go out and raise funds for Kyle's defense to make sure he was secure, and then turned around and gutted all that. I mean, it's borderline, if not actual legal malpractice by Mark Richards, in my view.
The people asking how it can happen, what would you have done differently? And it's something we've been discussing from the very beginning, is that you cannot go solicit a mandate from a client. They have to come to you, they have to call you. And this, they call it strategizing. You were strategizing one way or the other to get the team together so that the resources were there. Now, the lawyers on the ground, how many lawyers on the ground?
So now, to my knowledge, there's 2, maybe 3 lawyers on the ground. Mark Richards and a lawyer from Madison, and an associate of Mark Richards, is my understanding. And then one person to help with the jury, as far as I know, and that's it. I don't know if they did any data work at all. By the nature of their questions, they didn't take. So, and at this point, what the data show, like, here's the other issue: if the judge would have known what he saw today in advance, that 2/3 of the Kenosha likely jury pool presumed Kyle guilty because of the media misrepresentations about the case, I believe the judge would have allowed much more extensive written and other voir dire, so that it would have filtered that out to make sure that only people who presume Kyle innocent are on that jury pool. If we had been allowed to run the jury selection, I had no doubt there was 0 chance of a conviction of Kyle, period.
Okay, so a lot of people were complaining that the jury selection was rather, let's say, incompetent on Richard's side. I didn't see the jury selection, Delio. I was working. I have a job. Unfortunately, I can't watch everything associated with the trial. But I heard the complaints. Robert Barnes here is telling you why. Again, I'm not saying he's right, but he is mad, and he's mad about something.
There might have been a mistrial, but there never would have been a conviction, because we knew exactly who the risk factors were. We had all the people there to make sure that people didn't, we didn't have a chauvin juror who, misrepresented the facts to get on there. We were going to be in an equipped position to make sure that did not happen, and so forth. And so I don't have any confidence. So, I mean, and I can't, at this point, vouch for the fundraising organization, because none of the information has been forthcoming that I've requested over the last several weeks. And again, I was suddenly punitively pushed out. Everybody else was pushed out at the same time this information was supposed to be forthcoming. I assume there's probably a connection between the two.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop, but I don't want to steal their video from them. I'll post a link in the description below so that you can listen to the entire thing. This is real unsettling. I mean, no matter how you feel about Kyle Rittenhouse, seeing his defense counsel bickering like this is really troublesome. My advice to Mark Richards is, you have been handed a self-defense case where the accused is shown running from the person he shot. You have a witness willing to claim that this dude that was chasing the accused threatened to kill him earlier. You have tons of video footage showing the accused with the right heart going around trying to help people, and not an ounce of him provoking or wanting anyone to get hurt that night. If you can't win this, your reputation is going to go to hell. If you can't win this case, then what could you win? Hell, I think I could win this case. And I'm not even a lawyer. So, Mark Richards, your reputation's on the line here. This is the most high-profile Second Amendment case in this nation's history. And you're the lawyer for the accused. You had better not lose this. If you lose this, you're going to be a laughingstock among lawyers. So, whatever problems you're having on the defensive counsel, you need to fix them. If Robert Barnes is right, and, I haven't heard Mark Richards' side of things, and I'm sure he has his story to tell, but this is really not a good look. You need to fix this somehow. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and go watch Viva Frei's video on this, and subscribe to his channel. He's really, really quite good.